So if you're struggling in the markets and you're trying to pass challenges, you're trying to get profitable, you're trying to be a successful trader, then maybe you need to try my strategy, which I'm going to show you. 80% win rate over the past year that I've been trading it. I've got around 25 accounts passed that I'm currently using for funding, and I'm adding more soon. And overall, things have been really simple and quite easy for me, to be honest, quite straightforward. And I think the main thing is just about having a strategy that works for you, and also a strategy that basically you can trade consistently. And this is something that I've found with this strategy that I've created. I've kind of modified from a lot of the, you would say trendy trade strategies that we've had recently. So I'm going to start waffling, and I'm just going to show you what it is, and then I'm going to show you some trades I took recently. So if you do want more information about this, you can get it in the description down below in the private Discord. And let's get into it. Do drop a like, it really helps the videos. So basically, my strategy is very simple. Let's say this is your, I don't know, hourly time frame, looks something like this. Basically, I'll just take 5 seconds. I'll go and I'll just mark out these obvious swing lows like this. Literally, this will take you like 5 seconds at the start of every day. I just go on the 5-minute usually, and I do post this in my private Discord as well, as long as all my wins and all the trades that I take. And basically, I'll just go mark out all the swing lows like this, and then basically what I'll do is, all I'll do is just wait for one of these levels to get hit like this. I'll just have alerts set at these levels, so I don't have to be staring at the charts all day. And then once we hit one of these levels, I'll just be looking for a reaction and an inversion back to the upside. And if we get one like this, especially on a time frame like the 5-minute, the 5-minute's been cooking for me recently, and we get an inversion, I'll just be looking for an inverted fair value gap like this to be trading off of. And then basically my strategy is very simple. I will essentially just be looking for a 3 or a 4 candle pattern V-shape back to the upside after sweeping one of these liquidity levels. This is one of the highest probability reversals in the market that I have seen. It's incredible really how much this does work for me personally. And then I'll be looking for, obviously, let's say this is your sweep, 3 candle pattern V-shape, which is from this context of the liquidity sweep, and I'll be looking to enter. Once we get back above that fair value gap, targeting a 1-for-1. So I've got 25 accounts. I usually risk about $150, $200 per trade, somewhere in that region. So I'll size my trade for about halfway between the low and the gap. If we come back down like this and close below, I'll know that the trade has failed and I'll close for a loss. But generally speaking, pretty much all of my trades hit a 1-for-1. I don't think I've had a single one that's just gone straight to a stop loss in a while. I would say at least 2 months, which is pretty incredible. And basically all I do is I target 1-for-1. I scale half my position there for about $100. And then I'll very simply just have runners that target liquidity above, and that's it. It's really that simple. I know it sounds really simple, but trading really can be that simple. You don't need loads and loads of technical analysis. And really, I think the simpler the better, because it means that you can follow your strategy really well, and generally means that you'll be more profitable, I think, when you can execute a good strategy properly. So in this instance, this would be your entry, as you can see here. I would have my sizing about halfway between the low and the gap, targeting a 1-for-1, take half my position off here. I go break even on the rest of the position, which is what I failed to mention, which I've just realized, which means that if I pretty much all my trades go for about a 1-for-1. I don't think I've had one that hasn't gone for a 1-for-1, like I said, in like 2 or 3 months. And then if I'm wrong, usually this will just be a short-term pullback, and then it will go and hit my break even on the rest, and I would have scalped a bit out of the market, and I would have been happy with that. But generally speaking, when you sweep these major lows and get 5-minute inversions or 3-minute inversions, they do tend to be full-on reversals. And then what I would do is, if we hit a 1-for-1 here, go break even on the rest, and then I would just target liquidity above like this. And that's the strategy. It's really not that difficult. And I'm just going to show you some examples, because that's the best way to learn, I think. So yesterday, no trades for me. You can see here, basically, we opened up, new week opening gap, instantly filled it. We did come all the way down here and sweep out this level. But you can see here, I would have been asleep, because obviously I'm on UK time. So this is like, going into 12:01 in the morning. There wasn't really anything clean down here. I mean, you could have taken one of these fairly grubby looking setups, I would say, that were 5-minute inverses. There was a tiny 5-minute here, which isn't the kind of thing I like to take. I like to take big obvious gaps after the straight after the liquidity sweep. But you can see this technically would have worked for a 1-for-1. There's a really sketchy looking one here, which would have failed, as you can see. But this is obviously just after another sweep. I don't trade Asia session because it's pretty low probability and I am asleep. So I just don't trade that session, basically. You can see here, there was a 5-minute inverse here that would have worked on the way back up. But obviously, again, no major sweep. This is just a minor sweep. But you can see the way that that candle closed with basically no top wick. You know that would have worked for at least a 1-to-1. You can see the hit of a 1-for-1 and then hit a break even on the rest. But what I'm really looking for is, obviously no trades yesterday, because you can see off open we just pumped straight up. There was no way I was getting into a trade here. What I really like to look for is these trades that come down, sweep a major level, and then you either get a really good reaction or you get a huge dump on the day, and then you get into major discount, and then you sweep a low and get an inversion. You can see Thursday here we had that ridiculously huge dump. Friday was really bad PA. There's nothing here that I would have taken. You could have potentially taken this. I didn't take this personally, but you could see this inversion here would have worked. We've got this low here, pretty obvious, because you can see it's the low with the last gap in the leg. Sweep, good reaction, enter on the inversion, target liquidity above. You can see this one probably would have been a scale break even, maybe, depending on where you got. I mean, the 1-for-1, depending on where you sized for. You can see this one would have worked. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing too major. I didn't take this one personally because I didn't think it was clean enough. I like to see a really obvious major low get swept and then take. I think I probably would have taken that with one account if I was watching the charts. What did we have last week? Wednesday was a weird one because we had FOMC, so New York Open was really bad price action. This one here was one that I didn't take because it was really late on in the day for me at about 9 PM. But you can see this was actually really good. Really, you want to see these really. If the trade is not obvious, I just will not take it. And this is a little bit subjective, but really, I think most people can tell whether or not this is obvious. Look at this accumulation, FOMC, massive dump, massive reaction. This is the 3-minute time frame. Look how obvious this fair value gap is. This is the most ridiculously obvious fair value gap I've ever seen. We instantly sweep down and invert. I'm on MNQ right now because my NQ chart has got lots of alerts on it waiting for lows. And I didn't want to confuse you. But this actually closed on NQ, not MNQ. So you could have entered like this. This would have gone for a 1-to-1, almost a 2-to-1. But the stop loss on this, again, was just huge. It was like 100 points. So I wasn't going to take it because I could have only taken it with like half a micro, which you obviously can't do. But I think obviously this is the kind of thing you're looking for. Really obvious sweep and a really obvious momentum sweep. Momentum pump back up after the sweep. And then you enter and obviously you're targeting above. I thought that was really obvious. There was a 5-minute on Tuesday, which I'll show you now. If I can just stop being a silly goose. Really obvious. You can see we're kind of, grinding up throughout the day. Got loads and loads of levels of liquidity here. You can see we just swept through all of these down to here. 3 or 4 obvious lows. This is what you're looking for. Major sweep. Obvious momentum back to the upside here with liquidity above. You can see we've got obvious targets up here. The open candle is a really good target in general for me for liquidity. You can see in general we're kind of forming as well this kind of trend line liquidity, which I noticed. These tend to be really good targets. Really, this is what you want to be looking for. Accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution back up through liquidity like this. Really obvious. So you can see, as I said, 5-minute gap here. So you're looking for your major sweeps, then you're looking for your inversion. Really obvious 5-minute gap here. You can see we didn't get the 3 candle pattern V shape, but we got the 4 candle pattern, which was still good enough. You can see the obvious V shape here. This is really obvious. Enter on this. I've got I think I took this with about 2 micros, which would be about here. As you can see, we came up hit 1-for-1. I started trailing my first micro at 1-for-1 because I could see how fast this was moving. I didn't want to miss out on some profit. Basically, this ran up for about a 2-to-1 on my first micro, and then I took the second micro off at about 3 or 4-to-1. It was about $200, $300, $400 profit overall. Really, really simple trade. Again, this is not rocket science, guys. This is literally as easy as you like. I've literally just realized this entire video that I've just not changed to my screen, which is absolutely devastating. So I'm going to go back over these trades quickly again. So the first one that I talked about was down here. This one was that janky loss. There was this one here, which was a minor sweep and a win. Let's go back along here and look. There was this trade here that I talked about on the Friday, which was another janky win that you could have taken. Sweep, inversion, target 1 for 1. This one would have won, as you could see. But I wouldn't have taken this because I didn't like this PA. The 3 minute that I talked about was here. As we can see. This closed on NQ, not MNQ, so you could have entered like this. Targeted a 1 for 1, which would have worked, but this one had too big of a stop loss for me. Then the one I was just talking about, which was the Tuesday. You want to be looking for these really, really obvious trades. You can see here we've been accumulating going sideways, and then we go into New York. Major swing down. You can see we swept this low, this low, this low, this low, this low. And then lovely, lovely bullish reaction. Great momentum back to the upside here. Closing above. Took this for 2 micros. About $200 risk. I targeted a 1 for 1, which hit straight away, as you can see. This wick here. Continued upwards, so I started trailing my stop. Got stopped at about 2 or 3R on that one for about $200 or $300, and then the second one for about $200 or $300 as well. Really, really great trade this was. And then the final trade that I took last week, another 5 minute trade. The 5 minute has been cooking for me recently. Really, really ridiculously obvious. Ridiculously obvious liquidity sweep. Fantastic reaction. Look at this candle. This is exactly what you want to see. 3 candle pattern V shape. Absolutely perfect. Amazing momentum. Enter on the inversion. Wait for the 1 to 1 to get hit. 1 for 1 gets hit here. As you can see, take half my position off there. $100 or so profit. Holding 2 more runners. I held one up to about here. I think this is about a 3 to 1, which was lovely. About $200 or $300 profit overall so far. Held my final runner on this one for about an 8R. Going into New York Open here, I started trailing once we started pumping here. Absolutely incredible trade as well. I'm going to stop waffling on at you, but there, you can see there was just tons and tons of trades. You can go back through and back test this for yourself. Just wait for a major sweep, look for a 5 minute inverse or a 3 minute. They're usually the best ones for me. Overall, this has been absolutely cooking for me recently in terms of a really profitable strategy. You don't need to be on the charts all the time. You don't need to be constantly watching the charts, as I said. Overall, like I said, this works really, really well for me personally, and I've been absolutely cooking with it. So if you want to get more information about it, get it down below in the description. Sign up for the private Discord. Please do like and subscribe, and I do daily videos every day, so check back. Make sure you follow me on all my socials as well, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.